What is up, you guys? This is Erica's for the win. Elden Ring reviews have dropped today. The Metacritic scores for Elden Ring are insane. Right now, as we speak, a 97 on PS5. 97! And then for Xbox Series X and PC, it's at a 95. Dude, I knew this game was going to be over 90, but holy crap. Yeah, review scores aren't everything. It's not the end all be all, but it's pretty incredible to see because we know how hard it is for games to get reviewed that high. And so clearly the reviewers are loving Elden Ring, and there's plenty of reasons why, I'm sure. I'm not reading them, but I have seen quotes, I have seen words and phrases being thrown around. Masterpiece is coming across my timeline multiple times. Game of the year. A game like no other. Yeah, it's that good. So it's good to see, right? I can't wait for everybody to play this game, which is only, a little over a day. By the time I get this video up, we're going to be even closer. But yeah, as I'm speaking too, there are conversations going on. And one that I found really interesting was people pushing against Jason Schreier for his tweets. And I believe the last time I talked about Jason Schreier on this channel, I was giving him some smoke for his opinion about Assassin's Creed. I think it was Odyssey, because he was saying it's not grindy. And of course, I disagreed. So I talked about that on my channel, but I have no personal issue with Jason. It's just all gaming at the end of the day. People do push back on him a lot, because sometimes he does say really weird opinions. But this one I really found no issue with. And I want to go through some of his tweets here. He starts off the thread by saying, if you plan on playing Elden Ring, here's a big tip. Have a journal, or my version, a text edit file. You can put markers on the map, but there's no quest log or NPC appendix. And you'll find it very helpful to keep track of what's where and who wants what. So he follows up with a couple other tweets, and it seems like he's doubling down for some reason. So let's check it out. So he says, trust me, a quest log would make this a far worse experience. One of the reasons Elden Ring is so special is that it doesn't feel like so many other open world checklist games. Quests and NPCs weave in and out as you play. They're opaque and surprising and brilliant. Then he goes on to say, based on the reaction to this, there must be some negative reaction, right? He says, I think a lot of people are misunderstanding the nature of Elden Ring's quests. This isn't like, say, Horizon, where you're constantly being bombarded with tasks. Quests in this game are subtle and rare, more like puzzles than errands. So this isn't anything surprising to me. I'm reading his tweets thinking, correct. It's not like Horizon or an Assassin's Creed, for example, where you have a map and it's just littered with items. That's always been a draw for me to look at Elden Ring and think, wow, this is going to be awesome, because it's not that kind of game where you feel anxious or OCD, like, oh, I gotta clear this map, or I gotta clear out these factions and strongholds to get an achievement, or whatever the case. You just kind of explore and find stuff, and that's really cool. I think that was great of a choice. So to me, I'm reading these tweets like, yeah, I agree with this. And to keep a log on your own, a journal even, if you want to put down the icons on the map and kind of write, next to it, like, hey, this means boss, or this means an enemy that I'm trying to avoid, or a pathway that I want to check out later, or something like that. It's old school, man. I look at it that way. I think, wow, that's like what we did when we were kids. You would draw little maps, or you would write things that the game doesn't tell you, right? And that was the joy of it. It was like learning through your own experience and not being fed on what to do constantly. Bombarded is the word that Jason uses. So I'm looking at his response to his own tweet, because he quote tweeted his own tweet, and he says this: "I am baffled that this tweet is controversial in any way." Same, I really am, because I found nothing wrong with it. He says, when people actually play Elden Ring, they will not be thinking, wow, this needs a quest log. They will be thinking, wow, it would be fun to keep track of these weird things I'm discovering. And that's exactly it. It's more of a sense of wonder and, oh, I just found these creatures, or I just found this animal or this cave or whatever. Let me write that down to keep track because I'm a nerd and I want to play games the old school way. Like, I feel like Jason's just kind of expressing that, and that there's joy in doing these things instead of having it just a long ass list. Do this, do that, talk to this person, go escort this other person. This one's hurt, go save them. You know, it's just like this constant checklist, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it can feel overwhelming, or it can feel like been there, done that, you know, because it's so normalized these days. And that's kind of what makes an open world in some of these gamers' minds. So when they see Jason saying this, or they think of a game that's not doing that, they have an issue. I've noticed that some of the responses that he's getting do take issue with this quote unquote archaic nature, that that it's outdated, or that, oh, I want it spoon-fed to me. I want to know what to do because I'm lost. I don't know. This game's going to be too hard. Like, they're freaking out. They're freaking out over this for no reason. They're not realizing that when you play this game, it's different. It just feels so like you have so much freedom, and you can chill and you can relax and you could kind of make it your own. And when you find these NPCs, or you follow one because it's walking somewhere, you're like, oh shoot, where's that guy going? You go follow them and you just discover this thing, right? Whereas people, they're looking at this as a bad thing. They're looking at it like, well, no, I want to be told to find that guy. It's like, really? Really? I mean, if they really thought about it in a way of discovery and sense of wonder, and like what it's like to be a kid playing games for the first time, and you're just looking around and you don't really know what you're doing, but it's awesome. And I feel like Elden Ring is that game, and it's that type of game. And I'm not saying it's like focused purely on being an old school game or anything like that, but this part of it I think is really cool. And I noticed, you know, with the map, you have these markers, and I commented to Jason that I found nothing wrong with his tweets, because there are markers on the map that are just little icons, and they don't say anything. It doesn't tell you, hey, this is an icon for a boss, so put it down for a boss. It's like, no, you could choose to do that if you like. You can take these other markers and just make them what you want to make them. So in my mind, I saw Jason's tweets and I thought, oh yeah, that map thing about the markers, I could probably draw those on a piece of paper like a total nerd, and then say, okay, this means path. This means enemy that I don't want to see. This means enemy that I do want to see. This means cave, you know, just stuff like that. And I feel like that's really kind of cool. So I thought Jason's tweets were perfectly fine. They make sense. And it's probably because I've played the game. Those on the outside looking in, they're either looking at it in two negative ways. Most of these people that he's referring to and responding to, they're seeing it as either a gatekeeping opportunity to tell Jason to get good, or they're looking at it as a negative, which we just discussed, calling it archaic and that it's outdated. And they don't want to play a game like that because they want to be told what to do. And because games like Horizon and Assassin's Creed and all these other open world games do tell us in this new age gaming, in their minds, they can't go backwards and they just see it as a total negative. So that's the two negative responses I'm seeing to Jason. Some of us are cool with it, but I think that's who he's referring to, saying that they're misunderstanding. And he's totally right. I feel like once they get their hands on this game, if they choose to, they might be so negative in their feelings that they're like, I don't want to play this game. F Jason, F the Souls community. I don't know. They might get all salty, whatever. But if they choose to play this game, they're going to see quickly what Jason is saying and what he means. And even if they don't decide to keep a log or keep a journal, they're going to probably open their mind a little bit like, oh, I get it. Like it's more open to my discovery. It's more freedom. And that's really what I think Jason was kind of tapping into. Of course, it's his tweets. They're not mine. But I do view it that way of like, oh yeah, I see what he's saying. Makes sense to me. But anyways, I just wanted to weigh in a little bit. But yeah, when it comes to Jason Schreier, he can be polarizing. When it comes to some of his opinions and stuff like that, he's always kind of been that guy. So I'm not surprised by some of the reactions here, but I do understand what he's saying. And for some people, hey man, if that's not their thing, they're looking at this as a negative, they're entitled to that. It's fine. But I think for some of them, it is misunderstanding that's going on. And are we really surprised that From Software doesn't have a checklist? Like, let's be real. These people don't play Souls games. They don't play From Software games. If they really expected Miyazaki and company to be like, hey guys, do this, do that, do this, do that. It's not happening. I don't know what they were thinking. So I think maybe some gamers are looking at it like open world. Okay, well, it should be like this open world that I've been playing for the past 5 years. My Horizons, my Assassins, my whatevers. And if it's not like that, then that's bad. And that's not what I'm used to. And it's not surprising, I feel like, because this quote unquote next gen type of open world games that are mainstream, the Red Deads and all that, people are just with their expectations down that lane of thinking when they're not remembering this is a From Software game. So in my mind, this isn't surprising one bit. And I didn't even think twice about it when I thought about the open world in a From Software game. I figured it would be this way. They're not going to tell me exactly what to do. And it's kind of implied in the narrative and the dialogue when you talk to these NPCs. They tell you things, and it's kind of up to you to piece it together and kind of make it your own and figure it out, because it doesn't hold your hand. I mean, this is From Software we're talking about. Need we remind everybody? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's kind of silly. But that's all I really have to say on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wanted to give my 2 cents and give Jason some credit for once. You know, I got his back, man. I got his back right now. I know what he's talking about. I know what he's saying. And that's all I got to say. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I got a lot of videos coming up. I hope you guys will stay tuned for that. And enjoy Elden Ring, okay? We're here. Let me know what you guys think about this and just Elden Ring in general. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Peace.